Today's quick and easy recipe is all-veggie yakisoba. Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make yakisoba. Yakisoba is a Japanese-style stir-fried noodle. What I'm going to do is an all-veggie version. Some yakisobas that you order at restaurants will have some type of meat like chicken or beef or maybe even pork, but the one I am going to show you today is all vegetable. So the main ingredient of yakisoba is the yakisoba noodles, and this one I got from an American grocery store, Stater Brothers, and it comes 3 packs. There's 3 packs inside one package. So, and 1 pack is good for 2 servings. I only have 2 in here because I already used 1. And the brand of this yakisoba is Fortune, and I got it again from Stater Brothers, and it's in the refrigerated section next to the tofu, where the tofu section is. And these are already cooked, so it's very easy to make. Basically just warm it up, heat it up, and you are done. So it's a really easy way of making yakisoba. And this pack also comes with 3 seasonings to season your yakisoba, 1 for each pack of noodle. That's why there's 3 in here. But honestly, I have never used this one. The way I will show you is slightly different. But if you cannot get the sauce that I will be using, then I guess this will be a good substitute. But for now, I cannot review this one. All right, so with that, let's get cooking. Okay, so for today's veggies, we're going to be using broccoli. I get my organic broccoli from Trader Joe's. It comes in a package. It's a 12-ounce package, and I have some left over, so I think this is going to be enough. So that's organic broccoli from Trader Joe's. I also have some leftover mushrooms, also from Trader Joe's. These are organic cremini mushrooms. There's a few here, so I don't think I'm going to be using all that. We'll see later on how much I'll be using. And then of course cabbage, but I'm not going to be using all of this. We'll see, maybe only half of this cabbage. And then I have leftover red onion. I have about half a red onion here. So this is all what we're going to be using today for vegetables. Our ingredients for today are for about 3 to 4 servings. We will be needing 2 cups of broccoli florets, 6 pieces of cremini mushrooms, 1/2 of a medium-sized red onion, 1/2 of medium-sized cabbage, about 12 ounces of yakisoba noodles, about 1/4 cup of tonkatsu sauce, ground black pepper, and about 3/4 cup of water. Since I've had the yakisoba noodles in my freezer for a long time, the first thing we're going to do is soak them in water while I'm cutting up vegetables. That way the noodles will thaw before we cook them. Like I said, these noodles are already cooked, so all I need to do is just thaw it in a little bit of water, and that will be enough time while I'm cutting up the vegetables. Slightly warm water is what I'm using to thaw these noodles. So we're going to be using half a cabbage, which I already cut in half. So this is half of the cabbage. Cut that in half and then cut it this way, lengthwise. Another one. Turn it the other way and just cut it into this big chunks. Let's do that again. Cut lengthwise. These are about an inch or so wide right here. Then I'll just cut it about 2-inch wide squares. And then I did not use all the broccoli. What I'm using here is about 2 cups of broccoli. And since they were big florets, I just cut them up in like half, some of them into quarters. So I have about 2 cups here of broccoli, a little bit over 2 cups of broccoli. So now let's cut our onion. Cut off the end. Remove the top layer, skin. And for yakisoba, I like my onions cut lengthwise. And I'm using about 2, 4, 6 mushrooms here. And they're pretty big, so I think this is enough. So I just slice it. And I'm using gloves, usually during this dry winter months, just to protect my hands and my skin from drying completely. So these are food gloves that I'm wearing. I started to heat up our pan and it's now getting hot and we are ready to stir fry. But today we are not going to be using any oil. So I'm just going to dump the cabbage into the pan without any oil. And instead we're going to be using water to stir fry. This is one way of cutting down oil in our diet. So now I'm just going to cover it for a little bit and let the cabbage cook in its steam. So from time to time, check it and mix it up a little bit. That way the cabbage cooks evenly. And cover it again. I'm going to give this another minute and then I'm going to add in the broccoli so the broccoli steams with it. Let's check on our cabbage. That looks good. It's not cooked yet at this point, especially the ones that are closer to the core, like this one. It's still very tough right there. But I'm going to add the broccoli to it already and just leave it on top. Cover it again and let it sit for a few minutes. Time to check on our veggies. So with a fork, yeah, this cabbage is still very tough. So I'm just gonna leave it there again. And it looks like it's drying up. So I'm going to add just a little bit more water. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit, that way it doesn't dry up too quickly. I'm just putting it between low and medium right now. Okay, it's been like 3 to 4 minutes, so time to check on our veggies again. Okay, so the broccoli looks good. Let's test it. I don't like my broccoli to be too mushy. So that's good. There's still a little bit of hardness to that stem. Yeah. What I'm going to do right now, and let me test the cabbage. Yeah, the core of this cabbage is still a little tough. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I don't want the broccoli to be too mushy, so I'm going to separate the broccoli from the cabbage and let the cabbage continue to cook, because that's taking a little bit longer for me. It's taking a little bit longer to cook. So I want my broccoli to be a little bit soft. I want my cabbage to be a little bit softer. So I will separate the broccoli, that way it does not overcook and get too mushy. So that's just a tip. If you feel like you made a mistake, the broccoli is now going to be overcooked, just take it away, pull it away from the rest of the veggies, and then just add it back a little later. So see, this core of the cabbage right here is still very tough. So I'm going to put them into the center of the pan, try to put all the hard part, the very white part of the cabbage closer to the center. It's almost done though. The leafy parts of the cabbage are okay now. Almost. Okay, so I'm probably just gonna give this another minute, covered for 1 more minute. Actually, at this point, I think I can add the mushrooms already. That way the mushrooms cook while the cabbage is finishing up. I'm going to put the mushrooms in the center and add a little bit of water and let that steam. The leaves are starting to be very tender now, so I'm going to separate the leaves as well. So I'm just gonna put it together with the broccoli. I'm gonna leave the core of the cabbage that are still hard, but I'll be separating the leafy part of the cabbage, and spread the mushrooms apart so they can cook evenly. And cover it a few minutes. Okay, let's check on our mushrooms. So it looks like these are almost done. I think we're ready to add in our noodles at this point. All right. So our noodles have thawed. There's still a little bit of water left in the pan, but that's okay. So I'm gonna add in our yakisoba noodles. Just drop them in there. Put this away right here. Sorry. And just mix it all up. Just break it apart. Might want to have to add a little bit of water if it's not breaking, just to loosen it up. And with a fork, you can just help it loosen up. And I'm just going to cover it for like a minute. That way the steam will help loosen up the noodles. Okay, let's check on our noodles again. Yep, it has loosened up, and we can add in the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to add in the cabbage and the broccoli, season it with ground pepper, black pepper. And instead of that seasoning packet that came with it, the seasoning we're going to use is this bulldog vegetable fruit sauce. It's actually a tonkatsu sauce. If you've ever had a tonkatsu at a Japanese restaurant, the sauce that they give you is actually this one. The brand is Bulldog, and this one you can get at Asian restaurants. So it's a vegetable and fruit sauce, tonkatsu sauce. It may come in different brands as well, but this is what I always get. All right, so now let's just season it. Just squeeze it on there, not a whole lot. You don't want it too soupy, just slightly coated. And then at the table when you're eating it, it's up to you. You can add more if you want. So that's why I don't put a whole lot of it in here. I just season the veggies, the noodles with black pepper, and that's about it. So this one could still use a little bit more of that bulldog sauce. As you can see, it's not a whole lot that I'm using. And if it dried up too much, then you can just add a little bit of water. So maybe I'll just do that, maybe just a little, just a tad. There you go. That's probably about a tablespoon or two. Yeah, so that loosened it up a little bit. And I always, I don't measure when I'm cooking. I always just do it by taste. So I always just taste it. If I feel I need more, then I add more. So I never really measure. So just by looking at this, I feel like it's gonna need a little bit more tonkatsu sauce, but let me try to do a taste test of the noodle. Yep, definitely a little bit more tonkatsu sauce. And a little bit more pepper. There you go. And mix it all again. And just like that, we are done. And finally, the onion. Because I like onions a lot, I tend to put a lot of it and towards the end because I like the flavor of raw onion. And raw onion is really good for you. Mix it all in. So I'm just going to let the onion release its flavor with the heat. So I'm probably just gonna cover this for like a minute or two so the flavor of the onion can come through to the yakisoba. And actually we are done. Let's do a taste test again. The flavor of the pepper is coming through. Not overpowering, just right. Just a hint of that pepper. And at this point, the noodles are slightly dry of sauce. Well, number one, because we did not put oil in this. But at the table, you can just add a little bit of the bulldog sauce to it and you're done. Or you can do it here right now. But depending on how you prefer your yakisoba and how much flavor of bulldog you want there, it's better to add it at the table for your individual taste. I hope you found my version of yakisoba quick and easy. I just wanted to show you two different types of packaging for the bulldog sauce or the tonkatsu sauce. This is the one that I showed you earlier. It is written in English and it says vegetable and fruit sauce, while this other type of packaging is written in Japanese. It's the same brand, Bulldog, same size, and this one says 16.9 fluid ounces, while this one says 500 ml. So just in case when you go to the Asian grocery store, you might see a different type of packaging. So far these are the two different ones that I've seen. Okay. That yakisoba recipe, I find it really quick and easy. That's why I always have the yakisoba noodles in my freezer. Just like the other day, my cousin called me and he said he wanted to come by within an hour and he wanted to have lunch here. So good thing I had it in my freezer and I was able to cook the noodles right away. And since I always have broccoli and mushrooms as my staple vegetables, I was able to come up with this dish quickly. I did not have cabbage at that time, but the broccoli, mushrooms, and onions were enough to come up with a vegetable dish to serve to him within an hour. And also that's why I only had 2 packs of the noodles instead of 3 that came in that package of yakisoba noodles. So I hope you really enjoy that and I hope you try it, and if you do, let me know how it turns out. And if you have any twists to that recipe, let me know in the comments below as well. So remember, it's all veggie, it's healthy, and it's tasty. Till next time, let's try to eat healthy. Thank you for watching.